That really worked out well for you there. And you didn't even have to do a rock, paper, scissors for it.
Welcome to the Bible in 1 Year podcast, brought to you by two Brits and a Bible. If you like the idea of a casual but meaningful chat about the Bible with a couple of mates, listen in. Something in here could be good for you today.
Today is day 168, covering Psalms 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. If you need a brief overview of those chapters, they're in the description.
Yes, indeedy. I realised, by the way, we've been saying the overview of the chapters are in the description. It changed from the one that we were using because that website was corrupt. So I found another one, and then randomly I looked at it. It's not the overview. No one's commented on it. It's literally just the first verse of each chapter and then a link to that chapter. I was looking at it and I was like, I was just blindly copying and pasting. And then I was like, that's not an overview. So sorry about that.
Fine. All good. I'm sure people could have worked it out, hyperlinks.
We haven't had lineups at the door complaining just yet, so I think we're fine.
No, not just yet. I think you got one from yesterday, boss.
I do, man. Yeah, it was just a short one, actually. It was Psalm 20, verse 4. May he give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. I think this is something that can often be misinterpreted because that's not really how God works. It is, provided that our plans are in line with his plans. Because the idea is he's not supposed to come into alignment with our plans and be like, okay, sweet, I'm on board. We come into alignment with his plans for our lives, and then our plans will succeed because that was his plan all along. And it was just that thing, really.
Yeah, no, that's a huge point because exactly right. We're conformed to him, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Apparently by doing that, I've saved myself a rock, paper, scissors. So I'll now offer you the floor for the first point on today, 21 verse 1.
Fair enough. I don't know if we're 6 and 5 or 6 and 4, but I'm definitely catching up. Anyway, very small one, the first one. So just at the end of 21 verse 2, it just says Selah. And Selah is actually a name of a pretty good Christian artist, just a shout out to that. But apparently the word Selah means pause. It's like a musical term, but it also means pause.
And it's pronounced Selah, by the way.
Selah?
Selah, yeah. We've had like Selah weekend music festivals at church and stuff, but it's always Selah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, fair enough. And it's a great reminder to just pause when in the presence of God. I love the idea that every now and then it would just use Selah. Just take a second.
It's true. I didn't know the meaning of it, though. That's really fantastic. And it didn't mention Selah in mine anyway, so I love that.
Cool.
Smashing. So Psalm 121:1, just this part, the king rejoices in your strength, Lord. And this is from a time in the Old Testament where kings were considered like the ultimate power, the ultimate strength. But even for them to rejoice in the strength of God was just this cool. If you see a king who you consider all powerful rejoicing in the strength of something else, that person must be that much higher, like comparatively. And I was like, I like it.
That's really, really cool. Yeah. I loved literally all the Psalms from today. The one that I'm going to, you don't have anything else for 21, right? The one we could do a rock, paper, scissors because we're both 22-1.
No. I thought you had Psalm 21:1. And I looked up and it's 22:1. So
no, I did 20. It's fine. Anyway, all right, I'll just go. So my God, why have you forsaken me? Obviously, very, very famous because it's something that Jesus literally said on the cross, right? But what 22 then, I watched this thing about how the reason that Jesus used that line was to actually point us to Psalm 22. There's a good chance that was part of it. Why, of all the things he could say with those precious last breaths, which were agony because he was being crucified. So literally just breathing was agony, let alone saying words. And there's just a few amazing things in 22. So, it all points to Jesus so well. If you've never read Psalm 22, I highly encourage it. But the congregation of the wicked has enclosed me. They pierced my hands and feet. I can count all my bones. They look and stare at me. I mean, come on, how much more directly could that be pointing to Jesus and the crucifixion?
Yeah, man.
And this is, it kind of gives you chills, I think, like just the immensity of the plan, the perfection of the plan.
For sure. That's really cool. I took out of it like the element of this, like sometimes we feel as though God has forsaken us. And it's like, has he actually forsaken us? Because honestly, he's using everything for his good. even the negative he uses for his good, it's this whole we come into alignment with his plans, not the other way around thing again. Like it feels as though we've been forsaken, but actually just give pause, like pause, sailor, and then the good that comes out of it. Wow, that was nice, wasn't it?
That really worked out well for you there. And you didn't even have to do a rock, paper, scissors for it. So that's really cool, man. My next points are in 23, so feel free to keep diving in.
22, just a tiny little thing in here. Verse 26, the poor will eat and be satisfied. Then down in 29, all the rich of the earth will feast and worship. And I just love how it's just the contrast that between the poor eating and be satisfied, the rich will feast and worship. And just like the Bible's for everyone, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. A little bit of a juxtaposition in there.
We haven't used an English term in a little while. I haven't, you have, but you're, yeah.
Use them every day in my job on. So anyway, but yeah, so Psalm 23, a couple things in here from me. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. I still can't to this day, like this is from before Christian days, but I can't ever hear 23 verse 4 without thinking of Gangsta's Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's possible to listen to that song even once and then ever hear this again and not, ever read this again and not hear that. So just stupid thing there. Shout out to Gangsta's Paradise. Probably not. Oh, go on.
Well, really interesting thing on that. I heard a preach, I'm pretty sure it was Jeff Price in Movement once, and he was talking about this whole thing of, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I'll fear no evil. And the valley, the darkness is not due to a lack of sunlight, it's due to a presence of mountain. And so it's not, when you're in the darkest valley, it's not because God isn't there, it's because you can't see him because of what's in the way. And so we need to conquer what's in the way to get back into the sunlight, or go through what we're going through to get back into the sunlight. God's always there. We just can't always necessarily see him. And I was like, holy, that's cool, man. That's
really, really awesome. And I think that's really what Gangsta's Paradise is all about, actually. Probably not. Only other one I had from 23 is I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And I just said, that's 23 verse 6. I still can't really fathom the idea that we're going to be there forever. Like, I just don't think that even as Christians, even in relationship with God, you can realize like how insane that is, right? Like that really hit me when I read that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's going to be forever. And it's going to be better than this.
I'm actually going to chat about this whole dwelling in the house of the Lord in due course, so I won't ruin it now, but I'll come back and reference this. You mentioned Gangsta's Paradise, and obviously that part, Psalm 23:4, about being so well known in secular circles. Is the whole makes me lie in pastures green, leads me beside still waters, is that as known in secular circles as well?
Not as much, no, not as much.
Because that is like one of the biggest kids. He makes me lie in pastures green. Like, there's so many Psalms, right? There's songs, so many of them turned into worship songs. So I was curious on that. And then in just before where you were at there, in more in verse 4, actually. So after the darkest valley, I'll fear no evil, for your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Part of the same notes from before with Jeff was like reading your word and spending time in your presence. That's the rod and the staff. Like we need to be reading God's Bible and we need to be spending time in his presence. And I was like, I like it.
That's good.
Thanks.
I like that a lot. I didn't, I just think of Gangsta's Paradise, so it's nice to get something else out of it. One final one from me, probably based on time, maybe two, from Psalm 25, just skipping through to that. Let no one who waits on you be ashamed talking to God here. It's so important in our culture, in every culture, but I feel like increasingly so. Christians, the world is trying to make people who are Christians feel ashamed of being Christian more and more.
Yeah.
So just this idea of never be ashamed of being Christian, understand that you hold God's truth and you serve the living God. So that was really cool.
Which ties back to Psalm 22, all who seek me mock me and hurl insults at me. Like that kind of, I took that as like being a Christian in a secular world sometimes. Last thing I'm going to say is in Psalm 25, in verse 5, it says, guide me in your truth and teach me. Then in verse 9, it says, he guides the humble in what is right and teach them his way. So he guides those that are humble. So I was just like, I like that. And then Psalm 25:9, do not remember the sins of my youth. Amen to that. All right, tomorrow's readings are going to be Psalms 26 through 31. Pick up your Bible, get reading.
In the meantime, please consider joining us on social media at Two Brits and Bible and sharing this with someone to help spread the word of God.